What's going on, guys? In this video, we're gonna go over my first rental property and the numbers behind it and why I decided to buy this property in the first place. Hey guys, my name is Sean, and on this channel, we go over real estate investing tips, strategies, and current events to help you learn more about the business and to help you become a real estate investing boss. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this video is because a lot of people have been asking me how to get started with real estate investing, and they think that they need to buy an absolute slam dunk home run of a deal on every single purchase that they make. But in reality, it's not that complicated. You just need to understand the basic fundamentals, you need to learn how to analyze deals, and then ultimately find the deals that make sense from day one. So I'm gonna tell you my story of how I got my first property, and hopefully this inspires you, which will then help you buy your own properties and help you become financially free. Back in 2015, I got really interested in real estate investing. I had been perusing BiggerPockets and other online forums to understand a little bit more about how to invest online. So after a few years of understanding how to analyze properties and then going to meetups, I finally decided to take action and buy my first rental. From going to these meetups, I found out about Jacksonville, Florida, about how the demographics looked good, the job growth was going up, and how rentals still made sense. You could buy a property that would cash flow from day one. And on top of that, it wasn't in a location that the weather wasn't that bad. They had hurricanes, but I felt like the climate was similar to California's, and I wasn't too keen on buying a property that was in a place with a lot of snow where your pipes can burst or weird things like that. To find my dream team, I went on BiggerPockets and I started looking on the forums for people who are subject matter experts in the Jacksonville market. And from just talking to all the people who replied to my forum post, I finally reached out to an agent that really vibed with me. And I felt like they understood where I was coming from in terms of investment. From there, he actually introduced me to a property manager group. The property management group introduced me to the contracting group. And then from there, I built my small team. I also found out how to finance my properties by talking to other lenders locally to find a lender that could finance my projects over in Florida. So now that I had my team set up, I was ready to buy my first deal. And at first, the agents were selling me some deals that were just straight off the MLS through some automatic campaign. And honestly, I wasn't really interested in just those listings that they sent to me. I wanted to find those listings where there was some story behind it, somewhere where I can buy a property a little below market so that I can capture some equity from day one. And after a few months of searching, I finally got a good deal from an agent. The agent told me that they were selling this property, but there were already tenants in place. So that was great for me as an investor because I want tenants in the home, but it may not be great for the sellers because when they try to sell their home, no one's gonna buy it except for investors like myself. A homeowner can't just buy this property and then kick the tenants out. They have a lease, right? So home buyers will probably look for a home that's vacant so they can move in when they close on the property. So by limiting that pool, I already knew that these sellers were in a little bit more of a desperate situation than a traditional home seller would be in. And it was listed at $99,000. I felt like the property needed a little bit of work, but not too much. And the rents were currently at $900 per month. I figured that, hey, if I can get it below $90,000, then it will satisfy the 1% rule. And actually, I asked my agent, would you be willing to do a lowball offer for me? And we actually offered it at $75,000, just to see if the seller would be interested in the offer. This property had been sitting on the market for 120 days, so that's almost a third of a year. So I figured they would be a little bit motivated to sell the property. Well, they got back to us and said, no, we want to sell it to you for $85,000. To me, that was okay, but I want to see if I can do a little bit better. And I actually tried to be a little bit more creative, and I said, how about I give you $77.5 thousand, so $77,500, but I'll pay for all of your closing costs. I'll pay for your buyer and seller commissions, and I'll pay for any title, notary, attorney fee. And surprisingly, they agreed to it. My total cost ended up being $82,000, and they ended up getting $77,000 net. So let's go ahead and look on a spreadsheet to see if my deal was good or if it was bad. If you guys want a copy of the spreadsheet, you can buy it with the link down in the description below. But let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. The listing price here was for $100,000, but I managed to get it for $82,500. Now, when I bought this property, I actually purchased it with cash and then thought about doing the BRRRR method to refinance out and then get all of my capital out. But I'll tell you a little bit what happened. So for right now, my down payment was 100% because I financed the entire thing. There was no interest on it because obviously this was a cash purchase, and my total rents per month were at $900 per month. The vacancy rate is assuming how long it will take between a tenant moving out and a new tenant moving back in. We put 5%. Annual revenue increase means how much your rents will increase year over year. We just put 3%. And same thing with your annual operating expenses. Every year, things are gonna get a little bit more expensive, so I put 3% there as well. For appreciation, this is Jacksonville, Florida, so we can put 3% here as well. Properties don't appreciate like crazy, but it's also going up steadily. Property taxes in Jacksonville are around 2.5%. So basically, you take your purchase price you multiply that by 2.5%, and every year you're gonna be paying that amount in property taxes. My property management fees are 10%, so this is 10% of the gross rents. So if my rents are for $1,000 a month, my property manager will do all of his work and take $100 every single month. There's only one unit here. My insurance on this property is a little under $800, let's say $750. I don't spend money on advertising. The tenants occupy the property and they pay for their own utilities, and there's no HOA dues. So total, I put around $82,000. This calculation assumes that there's an additional 2% of closing costs, but in my scenario, I had already put that into my calculations here. Down payment is 100%, nothing is financed here. So if we look at the numbers, you can see that I get $900 a month. We assume a 5% vacancy rate, so every month I might be losing 45. Now obviously I'm not losing 45 every month, but when the tenants move out, then all of that combined is probably how much I'll be losing over time. Property taxes are going to be around $171 per month. I'm paying $62 in insurance. My property manager is taking 10%. And over here, this maintenance and repairs, I'm also saving $90 a month. So like a vacancy factor, I'm not spending $90 every single month to maintain the property, but I'm saving an account so that a few years down the line, if the AC goes out, if the roof needs repairing, if I need to cut down a big tree, that reserves will basically be used for that. So in total, I'm going to be getting $440 a month from this property. So not too bad. You know, I put in $82,000, I'm getting $440 per month. So if you look on a yearly basis, my total cash flow is going to be $5,200, almost $5,300. And that's just taking 440 times 12. Based on what I put in, my cash ROI is 6.28%. So it's not the best in terms of the return on my investment. You know, I could probably get 7% or 9% if I just put it in the stock market. But I'm getting this property that appreciates over time, and the cash flow portion is at 6.28%. Now, if you take into consideration how much money I'm getting, including the appreciation of the property, then my total return is around 9.22%. So this is not too bad. Like, this is why you invest in real estate. As you can see, as you put more money in down payment, the cash on cash goes down by a little bit, but overall, I would say it is better to leverage this property. If you go to the top right part of this graph, you can see the difference between your cash on cash ROI and your total ROI. So again, this cash on cash number just means that as the years go by, your cash on cash return will increase because of the increased rents, but your total ROI is a little bit higher because again, you have appreciation coming into play. So again, this is not like a slam dunk home run deal. This is a solid base hit. I'm buying a property because I want to get into real estate investing. And I think this is what a lot of people should be doing as well. They think so much about all the downsides and they think so much about getting the best deal that they never really get started. And if you never really get started, then you won't even get those home run deals in the first place. So let me tell you a little bit more about this particular deal. Originally, the deal was to do the BRRRR strategy, where I buy it with cash, and then I do a cash out refinance to get all of my money back and maybe then some. This property was listed for $100,000. So I thought this property was worth $100,000. Unfortunately, I made the critical mistake of not talking to my lender before I did this project. And the thing was, I wanted my money back so quickly that I refinanced. It's called delayed financing. I refinanced a week after I closed on the property. And that's when they told me that, oh, you bought this property at $77,000. Technically, it's only worth $77,000. If you had waited 6 months or a year, then we could have done a new appraisal and then we could have possibly given you 70 or 80% of that new appraised value. So if you guys are planning on doing the BRRRR strategy, definitely talk to your lenders first and ask them about seasoning requirements. Otherwise, they may only be able to refinance you 70 or 80% of your purchase price instead of on your actual value of the property. So unfortunately, I was only able to get a loan for around $60,000 on this property, even though I put $80,000 into it. And because the loan was only at $60,000, my loan to value is basically at 70%. So if we look at the financing now, we can change it a little bit to reflect my delayed financing. My down payment was essentially 30% of this $82,000. So let's put 30% here. The interest rate here was a little bit higher as well. So my interest rates here are at 5%. And this was a 30-year fixed loan with my total rent still being at $900. So let's see if this changed the number at all. So if you scroll down, you can see that my mortgage payments are around $300 and that my total cash outlay, so the money that's still stuck in the deal, is around $26,000. If you look down here, you can see that my expenses are the same, but because of the mortgage, I'm now losing a little bit more money. I'm only getting $130 per month on this property. So I was getting $400, now I'm only getting $130. My cash ROI has gone down a little bit from 6 to down to 5.94. So my cash on cash ROI has gone down, but because I financed the deal, my property is now leveraged. And now that 3% increase every single year because of appreciation now improves my total ROI to almost 20% a year. This is why real estate investing is good, because you can leverage the money so that you're only putting a little bit in, but you're getting a massive amount out. Ideally, I would love to have gotten all my money out, but it is what it is. And as you can see here, I'm making around 18.5% total after including the appreciation and debt pay down. So basically every month I'm paying down my mortgage and the cash flow on top of it. So as you can see here, my first deal was not an absolute home run, but it got me started with real estate investing. And as with every start, that is the most exciting part. After this, I bought more properties, bought more rentals, and now I'm cash flowing around $2,000 a month net on my rental properties. And while that number may not seem like it's a life-changing number, remember, this is pure cash flow after paying for everything. And I can take that money and I can invest in something else, or I can use it to pay for my daily expenses so that I don't have to work a full-time job. It gives me the freedom to do what I want to do. And it's only because of real estate investing. If I were to do this deal again, I would have definitely waited 6 months before refinancing so that I could then take all of my capital back out and then redeploy it into something else, doing the full true BRRRR strategy. I would also probably buy it at a cheaper price because even though I got a good deal at $77,000, when I offered to pay for the closing costs to the seller, I didn't realize that that wouldn't be incorporated in the final purchase price. The bank was looking at me saying that I only paid $77,000 for it, when in reality I paid $82,000 because of all the extra closing costs. So in the future, I wouldn't do that. And I would also look for something that cash flows a little bit more because $100 a month is not really that big of a cushion in case something does happen. And don't forget, this $100 a month number may not seem like a lot, but it's because I'm also taking in a 5% vacancy rate and a 10% reserve for maintenance and repairs. So I would say if this is your very first property, don't worry too much about getting an absolute home run. Just get started and find something that works. As long as the numbers work on day one, then you should be absolutely fine and you'll be on your way to then buying more and more properties. If you guys have enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about how to buy out-of-state rental properties and how to get started, then definitely check out our course, Remote Rental Riches, where we teach you how to go step by step into buying your very first remote rental property without knowing anything about buying real estate. And let me know what your thoughts are about my very first deal, and tell me about your deals. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions about buying your first out-of-state rental property. And if you guys have enjoyed this video, it would do me a huge favor if you just take 2 seconds to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos just like this one. Thanks for taking time to watch this video, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.